Hello, everybody. My name is Keith, and welcome to my top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. I am going to count down for you my 10 favorite WrestleMania matches. Now, this list can change, pretty much changed at the beginning of the week when I wrote it out until now, and it could change again. But right now, these are the 10 matches that I am going with. We are, of course, on the eve of WrestleMania 40. I can't believe it's been 40 of them. We have gone from Vince McMahon betting everything on this one event back in 1985 at Madison Square Gardens to now in 2024, where it will take place in Philadelphia over 2 nights. WrestleMania is no longer a one-night ting. It is now a two-night ting-ting, and it's very exciting. So I'm going to break down this list for you. And you know what? You can like it. You might have issue with it. But tell me, what are the matches that you'd put on your list? Spoiler alert. There is no Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 10 on this. There is no Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels on this. And there's no triple threat ladder match from WrestleMania 17 on this. I got a crazy list. Oh, and no Hogan Rock on this list either. These are the 10 matches that I think are the best 10 matches from WrestleMania, or I should say my favorite matches. But again, all opinion based. Let's get into it. All right. Starting off, we are going to go to number 10. Okay, we're going to WrestleMania 34. Listen, the Ronda Rousey experiment did not end well. And I know that she's got a lot of not so nice things to say about the WWE. This list isn't about that. It isn't about her trying to promote her book. It's about this match. And this match was fire. Yes, she was protected at the fact that she was in the ring with people who have been doing it for a long time. But at the end of the day, this was an entertaining match. We got a little taste of her at WrestleMania 31 when she showed up with The Rock at Levi's Stadium, and they had their confrontation with Stephanie and Hunter. But this was a fantastic match, and her in ring style in this particular match was really well done. I thought this match was very entertaining, and that's why it makes my list. It's coming in at number 10. Number 9, we're going to go to WrestleMania. What WrestleMania was this? Excuse me, WrestleMania 24. Of course, this is the career-ending match for Ric Flair. Of course, he chose Shawn Michaels as his opponent. We all remember that beautiful moment where Shawn Michaels was about to tune up the band, but then he didn't want to do that. He just looks at Ric Flair and says, "I'm sorry, I love you." Super kicks him, pins him, and we have this epic, tearful goodbye to Ric Flair. Ric Flair later on might have become a character where he was basically going to NHL dressing rooms just doing woo all day long. But before that, he had a great career, and I think this match was an amazing send-off. Number 9 on my list. All right, number 8. This is going to be one of 2 matches from WrestleMania 39. Recency biased, maybe. Sentimental because I was there, maybe. But this was an amazing tag team match, which was also the main event of night 1. What I love about this fight between the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens is the story. The WWE is phenomenal at storytelling. We had this amazing character in Sami Zayn who, coming off of this fun storyline with Johnny Knoxville, was looking for acceptance. He got that with the bloodline. And then the next thing you know, they turn on him. Then he gets back together with his good friend, Kevin Owens, and they're competing for the tag team title. There was so much drama and excitement in this match, and this was a phenomenal contest. This was only the second time up till that point where a tag team match had main evented in WrestleMania. The first time going all the way back to WrestleMania 1 with Hogan and Mr. T against Paul Orndorff and Rowdy Piper. We hadn't seen a tag team in the main event since then. Now we've got the tag team titles up for grabs, and it was a phenomenal match. When Sami and Kevin won, the place erupted with emotion. Of course, we saw Sami Zayn's wife bawling in the front row. And it wasn't just the fact that they executed a phenomenal story, but we had 2 guys from Quebec who were celebrating the fact that their dream had come true. Absolutely love that match. Coming in at number 8. Coming into number 7. Okay, this one might be a little contentious for some people, and some people might be like, what are you talking about? One of the things that I love about the WWE is they know how to pivot. They know how to adjust. We went through this time in COVID where it was basically social distancing and people having to stay at their homes. WrestleMania parties weren't a thing. I remember with this WrestleMania being on a group chat with my friends and just being like video calling, because as we're at different places, we couldn't all get together. We learned these new terms during COVID, like curbside pickup. Before COVID, curbside pickup was something that separated parents did with their kids. Just leave the kid at the curbside. I'll come pick them up. Anyways, this was a phenomenal match. This was the main event of night one of WrestleMania 36. What worked for me with this match is it was just production. It was just like this amazing video brought to life. So with this particular WrestleMania, they had to cancel the in-person the in-person and the in-stadium event, and it was all relegated to the Performance Center that the WWE had. But for this particular match between The Undertaker and AJ Styles, they went to like this cemetery and they had the fight there. And it was basically this amazing studio production, complete with like music and what have you, and special effects. And it was just this really cool match between these guys. And had all of the elements that you would want from an actual wrestling match, but then mixed in with being in this cemetery. The WWE showed to myself and to fans around the world, they are flexible. They look at the situation and they say, okay, we can't go this way, so we're going to call an audible and we're going to do something different. And what they did was they created this incredible moment with these two superstars. They took people who were at home and they did what they usually do, which is entertain. Because at the core of their business, that's what they're there to do. They're to entertain us. This was an extremely entertaining match. Are people going to look back and say, oh, well, this is one of the greatest matches of all time? I can't say that they will. But what I will say is, in a time of uncertainty and in a time where we were looking for a reason to smile, the WWE gave it to us with this installment of WrestleMania, and specifically with this match. It definitely deserves to be on the list. Moving on to the next one. Okay, we're going to go now to WrestleMania 8. Ric Flair and Randy Macho Man Savage. Okay, of course, with this, there was a lot of expectation that that Ric Flair was gonna face Hulk Hogan. That didn't happen, and I'm glad it didn't happen because it resulted in an extremely good match. This was Ric Flair still at the peak of his career, taking on Randy Savage, who's kind of like on the second life of his career, if you will, because of course he went through the whole retirement and then came back. And of course, Miss Elizabeth is in the middle of this because there are pictures that Ric Flair is going to put up on the big screen and all of this stuff. That gimmick aside, this was an extremely entertaining match between two of the great superstars of wrestling. It goes all the way back to WrestleMania 8, and there's been a lot of WrestleMania since then. And if I'm still talking about it, I got to tell you, very, very entertaining. We are going to move now. Again, I talked to you about this before. I call it recency bias, but it deserves to be here. Last year's WrestleMania, SoFi Stadium, the SmackDown Women's Championship, we've got Rhea Ripley, Mommy, taking on the Queen, Charlotte Flair. This is a wonderful passing of the baton match, but it was also one of those matches that just kind of showcases how far women's wrestling has come. Gone are the days of the bra and panties matches and those types of gimmick matches, and we're seeing superstars who can main event just as much as the men can, because they are at times probably more entertaining than the men are. This match absolutely was one of those matches that definitely stole the show. I was extremely impressed with this. I've gone back and rewatched it several times. You had Charlotte Flair, who, of course, Ric Flair's daughter, who has been no stranger to this business and has been absolutely fantastic in her evolution. But then you've also got somebody like Rhea Ripley, who's paid the dues, who's come up. And the funny thing is, even though Rhea Ripley was supposed to be the heel, the cheers that she was getting at SoFi Stadium was ridiculous. Fans who saw this were treated to an absolutely incredible feat of athleticism. This was an incredible match. Definitely one of my favorite WrestleMania matches, and so thrilled to have it on the list. Next up, we are going to head over to WrestleMania 37. Coming in the number 4 spot, again, this was a match that was the first time two black women main evented WrestleMania. They main evented WrestleMania 37 on night 1. We've got Sasha Banks taking on Bianca Belair. Again, another passing of the torch match. There's so many things about this match I love. First of all, it won the ESPY for WWE Moment of the Year. Excuse me. On top of that, we've got Sasha Banks, who was an incredible wrestler. Again, forget about all the off camera stuff that's going on. You cannot deny that she's a fantastic wrestler. Bianca Belair needs no introduction and has been absolutely outstanding for WWE, and the two of them coming together. I will tell you, their promotion video for this is probably one of the best promotion videos for any match I've ever seen. I might tag it in this video. Absolutely love this match. Of course, Bianca Belair came out on top, but the real winner, as cheesy as it sounds, is the fans. Loved this match. And again, it's one of those matches you can go back and rewatch and re-enjoy, just like all the matches on this list. We are going into the top three right now. These are my top three favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. We're going to WrestleMania 13. The graphic here isn't great, but the match was Stone Cold Steve Austin against Bret the Hitman Hart. Coming into this, Stone Cold was the hero. He was the good guy. Stone Cold was the bad guy. Everybody loved Bret, not so much for Stone Cold. Everything flipped on that night. Many people will remember this image of Stone Cold Steve Austin in the sharpshooter, not wanting to give up because, of course, it was a submission match. This is the match that made Stone Cold's career. One of the really interesting aspects of this is that Stone Cold, of course, never give up, never quit. And at the end, as he's limping back to the dressing room after passing out from the pain and having the match awarded to Bret, people forget he lost this match. But did he really? As the crowd erupted into chants of Stone Cold, or Austin, I should say, everyone was just completely taken with the fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin at that moment really became a star. This is the match that really elevated him to the next level. This is one of those matches where it wasn't in the stadium, it was in an arena in Chicago, but it absolutely is one of those matches that has stood the test of time just because of the iconic moments. Sometimes there are these great WrestleMania moments, sometimes there are great WrestleMania matches. This had both. The match itself was fantastic between these two wrestlers, but also this is an iconic moment that people will remember forever. Coming into number 2, WrestleMania 3. For the longest time, this was my favorite WrestleMania match. Randy, Macho Man Savage, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. What the WWE does such a great job of is storytelling. Of course, the whole story here was that the Macho Man had crushed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's larynx. He had injured him, and it was all about Randy Savage getting his comeuppance and Ricky Steamboat getting the Intercontinental title from him. One of the cool things the WWE did with that is the two of them never touched leading up to Mania. Excuse me. We never saw the two of them engaged in anything. If Ricky Steamboat hit the arena, Randy Savage was leaving. That all culminated with this phenomenal match at the Pontiac Silverdome for WrestleMania 3. Reported of 90,000 people there. I'm not necessarily sure of, because I've heard back and forth things about the attendance. One thing that can't be disputed, this was probably one of the greatest technical wrestling matches of all time. WrestleMania or not, I was beyond impressed with this match. Again, these are two men who I think really set the bar for what an exciting wrestling match should look like. The WWE set the bar in terms of what great storytelling would look like. And this, if this isn't on your list, like we can disagree about some of the other matches that I've put on this list, but if you don't have this one on your list, respectfully, it's not much of a list. All right, we're coming into number 1. My favorite WrestleMania match of all time, the end of an era. Shawn Michaels refereeing Triple H against The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker, all total, had about 5 matches with Triple H and with Shawn Michaels combined. So The Undertaker was no stranger to these guys. And they were wrestlers who would travel the road with each other. But we've got this interesting story where this is going to be it. This is going to be the end, and they're going to settle it in this Hell in a Cell matchup. Now, what made this match so incredibly amazing for me was a couple of things. Number one, the story. We've got the streak of The Undertaker, which is the fact that he's never lost at WrestleMania at the time, going up against a guy who almost beat him the previous year. And because of the match that he had with Triple H the previous year, he had to be stretchered out. On top of that, you've got Shawn Michaels, who lost to The Undertaker in a career match, who is now refereeing it. We saw so much emotion, so much was on display in this match. With every single two count, you were like, "Oh, that could have been it." There were so many times where it could have gone one way or another, and then in the end, of course, The Undertaker prevailed. And probably one of the most amazing moments, the spontaneous moment, up on the top of the stage, the three of them embraced and shared like this curtain call type moment. just amazing. One of those moments that you only see at a WrestleMania. So for me, excuse me, for me, and I apologize, throat's acting up. But for me, these are the 10 best WrestleMania matches. Again, it's always difficult to choose because there are so many great ones, and we can dispute and we can say, well, what about this one? What about that one? And there are definitely a lot of honorable mentions. But when it comes to my top three of Stone Cold versus Bret Hart, Randy Savage against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the end of an era, to me, those are the three greatest. The other ones we can go back and forth on. But again, I think if you're looking at building a WrestleMania playlist, you should definitely have these 10 on your list. These were my favorite WrestleMania matches. Feel free to share with me what yours are. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.